Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here with a discussion video because it looks like there is going to be a new Sims game coming along. And it's something I've been wanting for a very long time, and that is a new Simcopter. No, sadly that is not the case, but some job listings have gone up for about a handful of different positions. All of them are positions for Maxis, and maybe one or two of them kind of sound like they're positions on The Sims 4, but some of them really sound like it could be for either, in all seriousness, a Sims spin-off or The Sims 5. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Executive Producer / Game General Manager. And, well, at first, it doesn't seem like there's too much interesting stuff going on here. A lot of stuff that you'd probably expect to see, just like balancing budgets, doing key reports, representing your game across EA and the game industry as a whole, and all that sort of boring sounding stuff. But looking at the first 3 bullet points, it's worded in a way that I wouldn't expect if this literally was just to work on the next packs for The Sims 4, because you have developed the creative center of the game and build a fully playable / shippable level demonstrating the key attributes of the game. Gameplay, technology, linkages to outside media, expand the playable, shippable level to produce a full AAA title, and grow the game into a successful franchise capable of multiple versions. So to me, that all sounds like talk of what goes into the process of making a brand new game from the ground up, not just DLC for an existing game. Especially talking about key attributes of a game where it's like, okay, yeah, The Sims 4 is already out and they talk so much about emotion, so it's like, why would you need to hire a new executive producer to do that? And also, they say to produce a full AAA title, not titles. If it was titles, then okay, yeah, then it would be slightly more likely that this is about DLC. And there's also the fact that there's already Simguru Lindsay, who is the executive producer for The Sims 4. So unless she plans on leaving Maxis soon, then it's extremely likely that this is not for The Sims 4. Because I don't think they have more than one executive producer. They have multiple producers who work at a lower level than the executive one, but I think there's always been just that one executive producer overseeing The Sims 4 in general, and I think it's always just been one, never 2 or 3, because I remember initially there was Simguru Rachel, and then she left a few months after Get Together released, and ever since then, Simguru Lindsay has been in that role, so I've never heard of there being more than one executive producer on The Sims, and I don't know, maybe they could change that, I don't know. I don't really know how that sort of internal process works, as I've never really worked on a video game, especially one that's under a big corporation like EA. And I do feel like, especially with all the backlash that The Sims 4 has received, I don't think it's actually that likely we're going to get a spin-off title in the style of Sims Medieval or Life Stories. I almost feel like The Sims Mobile could just take that role, even though that's not a PC title, but it was kind of like an extra game. And we already had The Sims Free Play on mobile devices, so it's like, oh, okay. So I think, well, at least my personal hope is that they're going to try and do their best to course correct the series for The Sims 5 and just put all their effort into making The Sims 5 as good as it can be and release it when it's finished. Well, within reason anyway. Like, don't expect cats and dogs and seasons to be in the game for free at launch. Although it would be cool, in my opinion, to have some basic forms of weather from the start, like rain and fog. So at least we don't have to wait like 2 to 3 years for that. But anyways, that's a little off topic. Let's get back to the job posting. So the next one I want to talk about is a gameplay software engineer. There's actually 2 of these positions that are open, but the only difference with the other one is that it's temporary instead of contract. So I'm just gonna have this one on the screen. And to summarize this one, this does sound like it'll be a position on The Sims 4, especially the temporary one. I can't imagine that just being a temporary thing for the sake of making a new game. I don't know, but I do find it interesting that they talk about pretty specific examples under the job responsibilities portion, where they talk about sim behaviors with how would a flirty sim behave differently in a pool club versus a bar, and there's other stuff like building creative real-life archetypes within a simulation game, but that sounds like stuff that can be added into the game, like romance, careers, postures, all that sort of stuff, and also runtime optimization for performance and memory usage. Also, there is the fact that they mention Python and C++. I know The Sims 4 does use Python. I'm not 100% sure on C++. Maybe someone can answer me on this one. But yeah, it overall kind of sounds like Sims 4 stuff to me. Unless they have just accidentally confirmed that emotions are returning for sure in The Sims 5. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I just hope that the emotions would be a little more significant. Not annoying, but just impact the game a little bit more. I can imagine that happening. There is also that third last bullet point where they talk about developing for live products at large scale. Maybe that could mean working on the multiple types of packs on The Sims 4 at once, like working on a stuff pack and an expansion pack and a game pack, since it's not just one pack at a time that's in development for The Sims 4. There's always multiple things going on. Or it could be that work is going to be shared at the same time between The Sims 4 and another Sims game, but I do feel like my first point is more likely than the second. But moving on to the last position, which actually has been filled already, but is still interesting nonetheless, because it says that Maxis is looking for a character modeler for an exciting new game in the best-selling Sims franchise. And they say, if so, then we may have a job for you. We're a small team now and are growing rapidly. Apply today and join us. And I don't think the team on The Sims 4 can be described as a small one, especially since there are 3 different pack types, as well as what's called the engagement team that works on the free features that we get through patches. So yeah, I don't think they're really a small team. But it would make sense at the early stages of The Sims 5 being in development that they'd have a small team just working out some very early things like concept art, the main features that are going to really drive The Sims 5 as a new base game and that sort of stuff. And then once The Sims 4's DLC life cycle is finished, then you have like all of the sim groups from The Sims 4 jumping onto The Sims 5's development. I know that's how it went down with The Sims 3 ending and then The Sims 4's development going into full swing, because with The Sims 3 towards the end, there were 2 separate expansion pack teams, one in Redwood Shores and one in Salt Lake City. And the Redwood Shores last expansion was Island Paradise, and then the last one from Salt Lake was Into the Future. And then pretty much as soon as the development of those packs were done, those sim gurus immediately hopped onto The Sims 4. And after that, it was pretty much just the team that was working on The Sims 3 store that was left, giving us some content to tide us over until The Sims 4 released. And I imagine the transitions from The Sims 1 to The Sims 2, as well as from The Sims 2 to The Sims 3, were pretty much the same. I don't see why it would be different or that it would ever change in the future, really, because if they just completely worked on one Sims game and then waited for that game to be completely done its life cycle before even starting the next Sims game, then we'd have like this large 3 to 5 year gap of the Sims not having any new content at all, and the franchise just losing relevance, which would not be a good thing. And then that would leave the series to be more vulnerable to a dark, edgy reboot that deviates way too far from the source material in order to try and please this new audience that might not like your product anyways, instead of trying to please the core fan base and having the title be The Sims instead of calling it The Sims 5 or some different title that would make it less confusing in comparison to the title of the actual original first iteration of the series. Yeah, I may or may not have a grudge against reboots in the media. But before I end this video, there is one other point I want to address in this character modeler post, and it's the first bullet point under responsibilities. Create, model, UV, and texture fashion assets, such as t-shirts, jeans, jackets, shoes, etc., in a realistic style to a high level of aesthetic quality. I've already seen some people say, oh, this must mean that The Sims 5 is going to have very realistic looking graphics. However, I disagree to a point. Like, yes, that might be possible. You might be right, but realistic could also mean just making the clothes believable looking, you know? Like, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that it has to look like a realistic art style, because I mean, you could say, like, yes, The Sims 4 is a cartoony looking game. There's no denying that. But the clothes? Yeah, a lot of the clothing that we get in The Sims 4 base game and its packs would be stuff that people in real life wear, so it could be realistic in that sense as well. So I did want to acknowledge that there is the possibility that they don't mean literally realistic. It could still be fairly cartoony in The Sims 5, and personally that's what I'm hoping for. I feel like The Sims 3 is kind of the odd one out. Even though it is still kind of cartoony, it leans a little bit more towards realism in my eyes, and in my opinion it worked to a mixed degree. With The Sims, no, not really, but with the environments, yeah, they still look pretty good. But with The Sims 4, I feel like that was like the proper successor to The Sims 2 strictly in terms of graphics. I'm not talking about the gameplay and that sort of stuff. That's pretty debatable, but I think that, yeah, with the look, it kind of makes sense that The Sims 4 went in this direction. And I mean, even going back to The Sims 1, you have a really cartoony aesthetic with the graphics and a lot of the sound effects and that sort of thing, so I'm hoping they don't deviate too far from that. But I would like to see The Sims 5 have a lot higher detailed textures, because even in the playable areas of the worlds of The Sims 4, there's some stuff that looks a bit underwhelming. Like, I know it's a little on brand to talk about this, but the seagulls, why are they so low poly? I mean, that's kind of cool that they put in something that I asked for, but I didn't ask for them to be so low detail. It's kind of weird to me. If they were like way off in the background where it's not like something where the player would be expected to look at, that would make sense. But yeah, there's things like the seagulls and like the rocks on the beaches, and even just some like normal everyday objects where if you look at them too closely, it's like, why for a game that came out in 2014 looks this blurry? It's like they played it just a little bit too safe. I understand that, yes, with The Sims 3, so many people, including myself, do have some problems running The Sims 3 well, especially in larger worlds, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I think they went a little too far in the other direction. So hopefully with The Sims 5, they can go with a happier medium, especially if, I don't know, I'm just gonna make a theory that The Sims 4 will probably release in like 2022. By that time, what's considered low-end computers, I'm sure it could handle at least open neighborhoods that are maybe like 1.5 times the size of The Sims 4's average neighborhoods. But yeah, I'm done talking about the job postings. So I do want to quickly thank Sims Community and Patent Plays for uncovering all this for us, and I will leave a link to the original article in the video description below. What I want to see in The Sims 5 could just be its whole series of videos. My Sims 5 wishlist. No, I'm not seriously gonna do that until probably after The Sims 5 is officially announced, because yeah, I think it's way too soon to do that now, though there is a what if video that I want to do in the near future where I propose probably one of the craziest ideas. You'd probably think that it's insane, but hopefully in the best possible way, and that could really just apply to any future Sims game, not specifically The Sims 5. It might even be too ambitious for The Sims 5, but who knows. But yeah, I'm just gonna end this video here, so be sure to leave a like or a comment or even subscribe, because it lets me know that you like my channel and my videos, and it helps you keep up to date more easily with the latest content for me. I do videos on The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more, so I'll talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching. Oh wait, hold on, I'll say one last thing. If toddlers are not included with The Sims 5 at launch, I think I'll just have to take a break from social media for a long time.